After the decisive maneuver, the resort gradually regained a sense of calm. The air was fresh, and sunlight played softly on the water, as if the world had found harmony once more. She walked along the sandy shore, watching the waves at play, and for the first time in a long while, felt able to relax. He was nearby, but now his presence did not demand constant focus or strategic decisions. She spoke to him of her feelings after the stormy events, of how difficult it had been to trust and act simultaneously. And he listened, supporting her with quiet smiles and knowing glances. Their intimacy took on a new shade, calm, assured, and warm. Meanwhile, resort news and rumors gradually lost relevance. People forgot old intrigues, new guests brought new stories, and past problems faded. She felt that, along with them, went the heavy shadows that had followed them all this time. Yet, deep down, she understood. Even victory does not make life entirely predictable. A single glance, a passing remark, or a fragment of conversation could shake her world again. She shared these thoughts with him, and he assured her he was ready to face any unforeseen trial with her, whatever it might be. That evening, sitting on a cliff and watching the sunset, she felt a mix of fatigue, relief, and a subtle anxiety for the future. She understood that they had overcome much, yet challenges still lay ahead. In this balance of safety and uncertainty, peace and anticipation, she felt for the first time that real life was not only struggle, but the ability to enjoy each moment with the one who truly stood beside her. A relative calm settled over the resort, but a new tension began to emerge. In their relationship, quiet, internal, almost imperceptible. She noticed that small details that had once seemed random now carried meaning. He would suddenly disappear for an hour or two, returning with a mysterious smile. She shared her feelings with him about how inner doubts sometimes surfaced, and he responded with gestures, showing care without words. One evening, as they walked along the shore under a soft sunset, she learned a secret he had kept from the beginning. Details of his personal life he had preferred not to discuss. These revelations were painful, filled with regrets and past mistakes. Yet, they offered a new understanding of his character. She felt that trust between them grew not only through shared victories, but through the ability to be vulnerable. That same evening brought unexpected news about the resort. Part of the land their rival had claimed had legal complications that no one had anticipated. This information could shift the balance of power again, but now they were ready to act together as a single entity, without fear or hesitation. For the first time, she felt ease in their relationship. Past intrigues were behind them, and their closeness had gained new dimensions. He shared his fears and hopes. She shared hers. They realized that their connection had become a true alliance, built on trust, understanding, and respect. Inner calm alternated with a quiet premonition. Challenges might still arise, but now they were not alone. Their love had achieved a strength that no intrigue or past mistake could shake. The following days became a time of quiet reflection at the resort. She noticed that every walk, every shared breakfast, every evening by the ocean was now imbued with new meaning. The secrets he had revealed ceased to be a source of worry. Instead, they became the foundation of trust, upon which their intimacy was built. She spoke of her doubts and fears. He listened, showing that he was willing to share not only joy, but also responsibility. Yet, external circumstances did not allow complete relaxation. Legal nuances concerning the resort's land created new uncertainty. Decisions could be made at any moment, potentially altering their plans. She understood that much now depended not only on strategy, but also on their ability to remain calm amid unpredictability. They began acting with even greater coordination. She offered ideas, he assessed their practicality, and together they devised sequences of steps to minimize risk. For the first time, she felt their actions and emotions flowing together, where love and reason moved in tandem rather than in opposition. Still, a subtle tension remained. Every unexpected call, every unannounced visitor could signal change. She observed how he considered each move, realizing that he now trusted her completely as a partner. Their joint decision to act amidst uncertainty strengthened their bond. As the sun set and the sea mirrored the crimson light, they felt again that the story was not ending. It had the potential to truly begin. Inner calm intertwined with anticipation. Their love had become strong, yet fate still allowed for one last unexpected turn. The last week of their stay at the resort approached, and the tension that had built over weeks of intrigue crested toward a boiling point. She felt it in the air. Every glance from the staff, every casual conversation on the beach now mattered. Yet alongside the anxiety came a sense of power. She knew that together, they could handle any turn of events. He was almost constantly at her side, and their union had reached a new level. Trust and mutual understanding were so strong that words were nearly unnecessary. She spoke of her feelings, he responded with attentiveness and actions, and a sense of unity emerged that had never existed before. They were no longer mere participants in a game, they were a team, ready to defend their feelings and their rights. The rival made her last attempts to regain influence, but her moves were now too transparent. Using old connections and threats had no effect. The legal and social cards had been played, and they acted in harmony, anticipating each step. She felt satisfaction that their strategy had succeeded. Mixed with a slight anxiety, everything could change in an instant. One evening, they again found themselves on a deserted stretch of beach. The sunset painted the sea in fiery hues. The wind teased their hair, and all around seemed utterly silent. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel that the struggle was over, and their connection had become something real and unbreakable. He held her hand, and in that silence lay more promises than ever before. Yet, a thin line of uncertainty remained. The resort had granted them victory over intrigue, but life continued, and new events could arise at any moment. Inner calm mingled with foreboding. Love lay ahead, but also a new chapter, full of surprises. Morning at the resort was quiet and warm. The sand glimmered under the first rays of the sun, and the gentle surf created a sense of peace, long awaited after the storms of recent weeks. She walked beside him, sensing that their closeness was not merely a moment of passion, but the result of shared experiences, challenges faced, and overcome together. He spoke of his plans for the resort and how everything would now be organized so that no one could interfere with their lives. She listened, understood, and felt that trust and joint decisions had become the foundation of their relationship. Their strength lay not in passion, but in the ability to be present and support each other. The rival had disappeared from sight, leaving only echoes of her intrigue. Her influence no longer threatened their union, and the past had become a lesson they had understood and accepted. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel that their love would not be destroyed by external circumstances. Yet, deep in her soul remained a subtle premonition. It did not trouble her. Rather, it stirred curiosity. A new story, new challenges could lie ahead, but now they would face them together. She smiled at him, and he returned the smile wordless, yet full of certainty that they had chosen each other. Walking along the shore, the sea reflected crimson and golden hues of the sunset. Time seemed to stand still, and ahead lay only new horizons, where they could write their own story without fear of outside intrigue. She realized that their victory was not the end, but the beginning of real life, where love and trust walk hand in hand. The sun leaned toward the horizon, painting the sea in deep shades of purple and gold. She walked beside him, feeling that every moment spent together had become a treasure, earned and fought for through weeks of intrigue, anxiety, and passion. He looked at her with a quiet smile, his gaze reflecting certainty that they were now united not only physically, but in heart and destiny. It seemed the story had concluded, that the resort had become a symbol of their victory over intrigue, fear, and the past. Yet life always leaves room for the unexpected. On the horizon, a figure appeared. A man, later revealed to be the owner of the neighboring property, had been observing the events attentively. His glance, strangely familiar yet foreign, made her heart beat faster. He stepped closer, and she felt a hint of apprehension, a new intrigue, a new opportunity, or a new threat. She looked at him and realized, although they had been through much, life would continue, and new trials would arise, but now they would face them together, with strength and trust that had survived the storm. He squeezed her hand, and in that touch lay the promise that no matter what tomorrow brought, they would endure it together. She smiled, feeling both relief and anticipation of the unknown. The sea whispered its eternal stories, and they walked along the shore, ready to write their own, full of love, strength, and unexpected turns. The story had ended, but the final touch left space for new chapters, for new intrigues, new choices, and new horizons they would discover together.